Why are all the cards declined? They're sitting at the table embarrassed. Fix this right now. My mom screamed into the phone. Her voice was shaking, like her world had just cracked open. My name is Lauren Avery. I'm 31. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. Because sometimes silence is the most expensive answer in the world. I was sitting in the departures lounge at JFK, sipping a cold iced latte, watching morning flights take off through the glass, when her calls started flooding in. 36 missed calls in 7 minutes. 2 hours earlier, she stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, telling me like a dictator assigning a chore. For your sister's birthday, 75 guests are coming. They'll stay here a whole month. You'll cook, clean, and host. You're the single one. Be useful. She didn't even ask, she decided. She never asked. My sister smirked while applying lip gloss and said, "Just don't act weird in front of my in-laws this time." Then she laughed at her own joke, like humiliating me was entertainment. Breakfast tasted like chalk in my mouth. So, I didn't fight. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just finished my toast, closed my laptop, zipped my suitcase, and walked out. Nobody even noticed the click of the door behind me. They genuinely believed I was their unpaid event staff, again. They forgot one tiny detail. This house, the one they were about to host 75 people in, is under my name. Utilities? My autopay. Grocery account? My card. Restaurant reservation deposit? My card. They never imagined I would stop paying. But today I did. And when Mom whispered, "Lauren, where are you?" I smiled because this time the consequences were not mine. Mom's voice fractured through the speaker. "Lauren, they're looking at me. The manager is standing right here. He's saying the bill is overdue. Please say you didn't do this to us." Funny how the same woman who raised her hand at me for saying no to chores suddenly learned how to say please. But I didn't respond. I dropped the call. Because this moment, this exact humiliation was earned. Let's rewind to yesterday evening, the moment before everything snapped. They had a family group meeting about my money, while I was sitting right there at the table like a ghost. Mom said, "We shouldn't use our own cards. Lauren earns enough. Everything will go under her tab. She's obligated. We raised her." My sister giggled. Of course. She never says no anyway. Her future mother-in-law smirked. Some children are born givers. She should be grateful she can serve. They talked about me in third person. Like I wasn't even human. Like I was a funding machine, workhorse, hotel maid. None of them noticed that I was staring directly at them, memorizing every word while pretending to stir my soup. I didn't slam the chair. I didn't storm upstairs. I didn't threaten them. I simply went to my room afterward, sat in the dark for 1 hour, letting the silence shape my decision. And then I canceled every single autopay one by one, methodically, without emotion. Electric, water, internet, cleaning service, grocery deliveries, the restaurant deposit. Every line item that quietly ran through my bank gone. So now 75 guests were sitting in a restaurant stunned. And Mom was finally realizing what happens when the quiet one stands up. Mom tried again, but this time she didn't yell. Her voice was tiny, brittle, like her throat was full of needles. "Lauren, sweetheart, where are you? Just tell me where you are. We can fix this. Your sisters-in-laws are furious. Your uncle said he might call the police." I set my phone screen down and let it vibrate against the airport bench. I didn't owe them a rescue. Not this time. Not ever again. A year ago, I would have run back like a firefighter to a burning house, trying to save everyone but myself. Not anymore. Not after what happened when I needed them. Last winter, when I got pneumonia, I called Mom coughing all night, asking if she could stay with me just one evening. She said, "I'm not your nurse. You're grown. Handle it." My sister posted Instagram stories from a spa that day while I lay under blankets shaking, fever hallucinating, alone. And when I recovered, they still expected fresh groceries stocked every Sunday and full refrigerator during their visits. That's when I learned. Love without respect is just free labor. So this time I didn't feel guilty. No shaking hands. No second guessing. No panic. I chose myself, calmly, like choosing the right flight. I roll my suitcase toward the gate. The departure board above me blinked. Los Angeles, Seattle. Boarding in 12 minutes. I wasn't flying away to hide. I was flying away to live. To take the job interview that they told everyone I didn't deserve. To spend MY money on MY life, not on people who would gladly starve me to feed strangers. And as I scanned my boarding pass, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Mom. It was Dad. Dad didn't call often, and when he did, it was usually cold, strategic, calculating, a CEO tone, not a father tone. But this time, his voice broke on the second word. Lauren, where are you? I didn't answer immediately. All I could hear behind him were voices, angry voices, restaurant noise, silverware clinking, chairs scraping, women whisper crying, waiters asking for alternate payment methods. Then Dad exhaled sharply. This is humiliating, he muttered, like the only thing that mattered was the shame, not me. Not how I felt, not how they treated me. What do you want from me? I asked calmly. Dad lowered his voice even further. The bank says the cards are frozen. And the restaurant says the VIP suite is already charged $7,300. We need you to fix this. Your mother is having a breakdown. People are watching. Lauren, just do this one thing. I almost laughed. One thing? For 11 years, everything was just one thing, and every one thing became another one, until there were hundreds. Grocery runs, event payments, dress deposits, trip pre-booking, surprise gifts, loan transfers, utility bills, house repairs, insurance claims. They treated me like an ATM with a pulse. I looked out at the runway, planes lining up, the vibration of engines rumbling through the glass, and I realized something. I wasn't running away. I was running forward. No, I said. Dad went silent. I repeated it, calm, steady, like truth from bone. No, I'm not rescuing you. Not anymore. I heard him inhale, shaky, stunned, like someone punched all the air out of him. This isn't how family works, he whispered. I finally smiled, small, but real. It is when family actually acts like family. Dad didn't respond, but I heard Mom in the background, a choked gasp, like she finally understood the math. The ATM was gone. I boarded, first class, sat down, buckled in, the overhead lights dimmed. The flight attendant offered sparkling water. I nodded, took a slow sip, and finally, my phone stopped vibrating. Airplane mode. Silence. Peace. For the first time in years, the world wasn't clawing at me through a notification. When we landed in Miami, I turned my phone back on and it was like a bomb detonated. 162 missed calls. 41 voicemails. 83 text messages. All the same theme. Come back. Fix this. Your mother is humiliated. People are asking questions. Then one message from my sister. You just love ruining other people's special days. Pathetic. Funny thing? I didn't ruin anything. I simply stopped funding dysfunction. Big difference. I dragged my suitcase across the marble hotel lobby floor, checked into my room. Ocean view, blue water, gold sun, white sheets. Luxury. Peace. Breath. I sent one message to the family group chat, and I composed every word slowly with intention. Hi. I didn't block the cards, the bank did. They flagged the accounts because all transactions for the last 6 months came from MY salary. They froze it until the rightful owner, me, confirms future permissions. I left because I am done being the only adult in this family. Then, after a pause, the guests can pay their own bills. I am not responsible for strangers you want to impress. I hit send. Seconds later, 3 dots appeared. Typing. Then typing disappeared. Then typing again. Then nothing. No insults. No yelling. No demands. Just silence. The type of silence that only happens when people finally realize the golden tap is permanently shut. The restaurant manager called me next, not them. he said, politely, carefully, like he was trying to avoid landmines. Ma'am, your mother tried to open a tab in your name. But when we asked for ID, she claimed she forgot her bag in the car. Then her friends tried. It's messy here. I walked onto the hotel balcony. Salty ocean air, warm breeze, and I smiled the calmest smile of my life. Because now this wasn't just family humiliation. This was public humiliation. And not by my hands, by theirs. 5 minutes later, my sister messaged privately. Please don't do this. Mom is literally crying in front of people. They're whispering. Everyone is watching. Oh look. Now, suddenly, embarrassment matters. When it was MY embarrassment. When they mocked me in front of cousins. When they called me extra and said, you just seek attention? They loved it. They lived off the punchline of my humiliation. But today, they were the punchline. I replied with one sentence. Factual, not emotional. The bank froze the cards because they flagged suspicious financial exploitation. Not dramatic. Not cruel. Just the truth. And that sentence? Oh, that sentence sent them into absolute meltdown. Because exploitation is a legal word, not a family word. Then Dad tried the final manipulation move of all manipulation moves. We're family. This is not how things are supposed to go. And I responded the only way I've ever wanted to respond in my entire adult life. Family doesn't abuse the person who funds them. Read it again. Because that line hit them harder than any freeze notification ever could. That evening, right as the sun was dropping into the ocean, my phone buzzed again, but this time it wasn't texts. It was FaceTime. Mom, Dad, my sister. All three squeezed into the restaurant hallway, red-eyed, frantic, whisper yelling like hostages who suddenly realized they were not in control anymore. Dad tried to go calm, authoritative voice like he always does when he feels cornered. Sweetheart, listen, this is getting out of hand. The manager is saying they need a credit card or everyone needs to leave. They're threatening to call police. I sipped my iced lemonade and didn't say a word. Mom leaned in, mascara smeared. Just one card. Just one transaction. Don't embarrass the family. Please. She finally said the real word. Embarrass. I tilted the phone slightly so they could see the hotel view behind me, the infinity pool, the ocean, the nightlights, the life I built without them. Then I said my calmest sentence of the entire story. You were the ones who told me last month that I only exist to serve the family. I took you literally. Since I don't serve anymore, you don't get to spend anymore. They panicked. My sister slammed her hand against the wall off-screen. You're doing this out of revenge. No. No. This wasn't revenge. This was boundaries. This was accountability, something they've never experienced in their entire lives. Mom broke. Full sobs. The camera tilted downward, and she slid down the wall, crying into her hands, exactly like the first phone call hours earlier. The manager appeared behind them, politely, professionally, and said, Ma'am, we need everyone to settle the bill or vacate the premises. They looked at me again, desperate. I ended the call. The next morning, sunlight came through my suite windows like a completely new chapter of my life had arrived. I ordered room service breakfast, opened my laptop, and finished the final transfer signatures for the scholarship initiative I chose to fund this year. Girls who actually needed support, not full-grown adults who weaponized entitlement as a personality trait. While I typed, my phone buzzed again, but this time, not for my family. It was the restaurant's legal department. They emailed documentation showing my parents tried to present a fake business card to cover the bill, then tried to convince the manager they were VIP partners. The restaurant rejected them and filed a fraud complaint. They CC'd me because the cards, the ones they used to leech from, were once tied to my corporate account. But now? Everything had been rerouted, legally sealed, layered with compliance protocols, zero liability attached to me. I replied professionally, confirming they had no authorization and that the family was not connected to my company in any capacity. 2 hours later, Mom texted again. Just 4 words. We need help. Please. I looked at that message for a long moment. No rage. No pain. Just clarity. Helping them now would not be love, it would be enabling the same cycle of entitlement they built themselves on. So I typed back. Help comes from growth, not from access. And I turned my phone off. That night, while the 75 guests scrambled, while my parents scrambled, while the group chat flooded with blame, hysteria, finger-pointing, I was sitting by the pool, feet in warm water, coconut drink in hand, laughing with people who actually show up. People who build, not take. People who love, not leech. My chosen family. My real family. For the first time in my life, I finally understood. Blood does not define loyalty. Behavior does. And freedom doesn't start when they apologize. It starts the moment you stop explaining why you deserve better.